Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunattu Saha Viryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavai. Om Shanti. There you go. There are a few quick questions we have. First, we'll touch upon that and then move on. After dissolving all other goals comes goal of realization. Kindly give clarity. See, all other goals, when we say, all that we strive to pursue in life, all that I want to achieve in my life, that is what is meant by all other goals. After you have the courage to give up, after you have the courage to drop, comes the goal of realization. So long as you are not having the courage to drop what you are pursuing, you will not get this goal of realization. Along with that, it is not possible. That's why traditionally they say, when you are studying the Vedas, you should not study any other subject along with that. It is including Vedantas. They say not, regular ones, not economics and chemistry, mathematics and all, not that. Even Vedantas you should not study along with the study of the Vedas. That is what we do every year, we do the thread ceremony. Change it so that we start afresh. So 6 months you study this. Another 6 months you study the Vedantas. That's how they plan it. The year calendar is like that for them. So when they are studying the Vedas, you don't study anything else along with it. Parallelly, you cannot study because it is considered as an insult to Veda. So they don't. Similarly, that's a orthodox, traditional one. Now, what we refer to here is the same thing. Along with the spiritual, you cannot be pursuing material. Not possible. Either spiritual or material. Only that option you have. Now, but all of us want to have this also that. I want this and that. Anyone who gives a promise that I will train you to pursue this and that. But essentially, this is the first thing to be get. First thing you should get is what? Like people give beautiful explanations and arguments and all those things. Unless you can, you cannot talk philosophy to an empty stomach. Correct. There are 80% of the stomachs in the world is empty. Okay. Now talk to the rest of the 20%, no? How many stomachs in Bangalore are empty? Right. Now, just because your stomach gets filled up doesn't mean you are ready for philosophy. There is no connection between the two. You see, you have to dissolve it. You have to drop it. I know whoever made that statement. It's a beautiful statement. The questioner makes. A beautiful one. She says, after dissolving all other goals comes the goal of self-realization. I think they should take the class better than me. Yes. Fantastic statement. After you dissolve it, You have to dissolve. You have to dissolve in the sense you need to understand the hollowness in the pursuit of all other goals. Because all other goals have inherent conflict in it. When I say that I am loving someone, it goes without saying I am hating someone else. In fact, if you look little deeper, you would see the person who you love the most is the person you hate the most also in life. That is why always the husband and wife keep fighting. And then they keep claiming, I love you, I love you, I love you. Very, very confusing it is. Why is it so? The one you love the most is the one you hate the most also. So in life, when you are pursuing, you must have the capacity to perceive a singular goal. The problem for all of us is that we have been entertaining desires and goals in life left, right, center. There is no single goal, single pursuit. When you pursue something single-pointedly, you achieve. But we cannot pursue anything single-pointed. The single-pointed pursuit is possible only when it comes to the goal of realization. No other goal can be pursued single-pointed. For a temporary period of time, you can pursue that single-pointedly. Like the students who are going to sit for the board exams will study single-pointedly for the exam. That's it. Once the exam gets over, what happens? You give the same question paper next day. Most of them struggle to solve. How is it that you remember everything one day before? Just 1 year you have been studying. After exams of 1 week later, you ask the student, what is this? They say, I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything that I have studied. Not to talk about you people. Right? Vaguely you remember something. One of the students who had studied, MSc chemistry. I asked her, she says, I don't remember all that. I do remember something we studied. Accounts. I studied accounts. Don't ask me how good and all that. I studied commerce, BCom. When my daughter comes and asks, some concept, she is asking cash flow statement. I said, I do remember there is a thing called a cash flow statement, but don't ask me how to prepare that. Don't remember anything now. It's all forgotten. But you pursued that for 5 years. You studied accounts for 2 years in 11th and 12th, and then 3 years of college, 5 years of study. But do you remember anything? Nothing you remember. All that is gone. It's not possible to pursue something. For a temporary period of time, you will pursue that. Single-pointed. Lifelong can you pursue something single-pointed? Not possible. That single-pointedness with which we can pursue, that defines the whole thing. That's where we see this master, the scientists I'm talking about. The great scientists, if you see, they keep saying, we pursued that single-pointed pursuits. And beautifully, strangely, you would see all top great scientists, you listen to their talk, they talk more philosophy than science. All of them appear very, very philosophical. You see, Einstein appears philosophical, Madame Curie appears philosophical, Newton appears philosophical, Ramanujan appears philosophical. All those great masters, all of them appear very philosophical. They turn to philosophy suddenly. Why? Anywhere you can pursue something single pointed. There is one thing which you can pursue single pointed, that is the goal of self realization. That you can pursue only after you have understood the hollowness. The pursuit is waste of time. There's no meaning in the pursuit of the other goals of yours. Yes. So long as other goals are important, yes, you cannot pursue this. Now, there is no such thing called this and that. This also, that also. Together can I pursue themselves? That is not possible. This is what Ramtirtha says. You cannot serve two masters. That's it. Either you serve God or you serve Satan. You can't serve both. Now you decide. If you decide to serve God, then you have to dissolve your interest, your contract with Satan. That contract has to be dissolved. Then you can pursue the goal of self-realization. Till then, it is not possible. You can simply say, or to play to the gallery, like this professionals, performance. When they do, they play to the gallery. According to the audience, they sing. They get, mediocre audience, they sing mediocre. They get good quality with very few, even very few are there, doesn't matter. You get the quality audience, you see the performance of the same musician. Same raga only he sings. But the way he sings there is totally different from the way you are singing here. Why? Audience different. Now, today, audience are all interested only in which master. We go to God also only for what? Not for that, for this. That's why we say the prayer, thy will be done. Thy will be done. When you say thy will be done, what you mean is not thy will be done. What you mean is mine will be done through thy. That's all. The day you are able to drop it, that is what Christ did. Jesus became Christ. The transformation happened in him. Dropping the pursuit. When Satan came and tempted him to make him the king of all the three worlds, he said, get thee behind me, Satan. Get behind me. Behind me in the sense, you follow me. That's what he meant. I don't have to follow you. You follow me. I will take you to better kingdom, he says. You have to drop that. Unless you have the courage to drop. That's why they say Vedanta ought not to be taught to weaklings. There is Upanishads. Let the weak-minded people not hear this. This is the cry of the Upanishadic masters. The weak-minded means what? Not having the courage to drop that goal of mine. How is it possible? People ask always, how can you drop it, Ishwar? Drop it, that's all. How to drop, what is the problem? How to pick up, you can ask. You can answer. How to lift 100 kg? I can tell you. What is the object first? Stand in this position. Bend your knees. Keep your back straight. Don't bend your back and then lift it. All that can be taught to you for you to pick up the heavy objects when you pick up. There's a lot of people, they bend it and then pull it. It's not the right way, they say. It's the wrong way of doing it. What you're supposed to do is that bend your knees, squat, lift it, and then come up. You don't damage your back. Otherwise, you will get a back pain. Some technique is there. how you lift, how you drop. What is the technique of dropping? There is no technique of dropping, it says. That's what Ishavasya Upanishad says. Ena tyaktena bhujida makrada kasya siddha. Ena tyaktena bhujida. Yes. May enjoy through renunciation. Drop it. Renounce it. Drop this, the goals of yours, your agenda, your pursuits, your desires, your ideas, your ideologies. Drop all that. Do you have the courage to drop? That is the spirit of renunciation. When you reach that spirit of renunciation, only you can start pursuing the goal of self-realization. Without renunciation, you can't pursue self-realization. So till then, what to do? You say, okay, compromise. Compromise is what? At least work with the ideal of self-development. But it's a compromise. What is self-development? Let me be a better person. For what? For what you have to be a better person? Let me be a better person so that people around me will like me, so that I can have a good relationship with people. I can spend good time with people, that there not be any fight with people. So your agenda of development is also only for what? For achieving something in the world. When you have the courage to drop it, then comes the goal of realization. Then she asks another beautiful question. Says, realization serves the world. Correct. Is it like any other services rendered? Fantastic question. Very interesting. Says, realization serves the world. Correct. There is no doubt about it. When I realize, I serve the world. Is it like any other service? It is not like any other service. In fact, all other services are not services at all. If at all you have to say that I have to serve the world, the only service that you can render to the world is through realization. All other services appear as services. That's about it. Temporarily. It's a stopgap arrangement. That's all. It's like this. What is the service rendered by those men of realization? Those masters. What is the service they have done to humanity? What is the service that the Guru does to you? Now, this is what you need to understand. See, when people keep on asking, how am I to select my Guru? There's no such thing called you selecting a Guru. He should select you. Now, if at all you go to, you should know what to expect from him. What is he supposed to do to you? What is expected out of him? What is he doing? You may have 100 expectations out of him. And most of the time, all our expectations are all what? I go to him, he gives one prasad. One vibhuti he gives. I bring that vibhuti and apply on my stomach. My stomach cancer should disappear. That's all. I apply it on my head, my brain tumor will disappear. And he will give me one fruit. I come and have that fruit. Can't give nowadays this example. Scary. Right. We expect what? Some miracle to happen. That's not his service, please. He is doing a service which is not possible for anyone else to do. What is the service that he does? Okay. Generally, what we mean by service. Take a least one, lowest category of service that can be rendered is material. Material service means what? What do you do materially? Physical service. What do you do physically? Emotional service. What do you do emotionally? Intellectual service. What do you do intellectually? Then comes the spiritual service. Right. Before we go there, first we need to understand these layers. That's what Krishna gives in the Gita. It says, materially, I give. How much I'll give? Charity. I suppose all of you have done charity in your life, at least somewhere in your, at least once or twice you would have done. Charity. What did you give? How much you gave? Versus how much you retained. No matter who in the world, how much was given and how much was retained. Look at the proportion. What the human retains, that individual retains for himself, is far, far more than how much he gives. Isn't it? He gave 100 crores. But how much he had? In that 40,000 crores, to give 100 crores is exactly like what? When you have 40,000 rupees, you are giving 100 rupees. But how much you retain? Correct. So the quality of service is defined based on what, sir? Not on the quantum of given. It's not the quantum. Quality analysis is very different from quantum analysis. Right? We can give. I can give knowledge. How much knowledge I have given to you and how much knowledge I have retained to myself. Yet to give. How much information a professor gives to a student versus how much knowledge, how much information the professor retains, he has. The proportion you take. Everyone who loves knows for certain that how much love I have given versus how much love I have. How much love I have expressed versus how much love I have with me. There's no connection. Minuscule. How much I have expressed, how much I got a chance to express, how much I was able to share with you is so minimal compared to how much I have. Always, in all services, so-called, the portion that is shared versus portion that is retained, we see that connection. Now comes to what is this master is sharing? What is he doing? What is the service that he is rendering to the world? If we understand this, we understand the greatness of those masters. But hardly we realize this. So think carefully. Follow me carefully here. What is the service of this? Why we need those masters to be living amongst us? And when we say masters, realized souls, we talk about only the living masters, not the dead masters. Living only is considered. Because dead masters are all just, photographs. It's only our memory. That's about it. There's no actual interaction. You see, just our imagination. That is why dead masters are more popular than live masters. As a master becomes more popular after his death. Not during his lifetime. During lifetime of Christ, how many people are following him? Only 2 were standing when he was in the cross. Poor man. All his so-called disciples all ran away. Only Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, only those 2 were standing. Fascinating to see. How many followers Shankara had? Okay. How many people used to go to Ramanashram when Ramana was there actually? If there are 30, 40 people come means they used to call that as crowd. Today, too much of crowd. Why? 45 people came today. Now you see, even during lockdown period, people go there. Lakhs and lakhs. They're going. Doing what? I'm not saying don't go, please. At least do that. Right, that's minimum. But when you go to those masters, what do those masters do to us, give to us? What is the service they render? In realization. When a person does self-realization, gets into that self-realization, that means he has liquidated his ego completely. That's what it means. Means total annihilation of individuality, ego. That is the service that he is rendering. The service of the master is not by speaking, writing, singing. That's not the service. That's not the real service of this. That's all incidental. Incidental services, they are all. You see, but essentially what is the service of this realized soul? Is they liquidate their ego completely. Now we may wonder, okay, now he has liquidated his ego. What is the service for me? Huh? What is the service for me, sir? When you come in the presence of a person who has no ego, one thing happens to every one of us. That is, by default, your ego gets dissolved. In their presence, your ego dies. Why? Essentially, for ego to exist, it needs the other. If the other is not there, the sense of me, the sense of I is not needed at all. Isn't it? That is why when you are at home all alone, many get scared actually. How do you behave? You say, I, where is your sense of I at that time? And the scriptures give much better example. Say, in deep sleep, where is the sense of I to you? The dreamless sleep. When you go to sleep, you get into the state, dreamless sleep, the deep sleep state. Where is the sense of me, mine, I? Is there a sense? Why it's not there? Because there is nothing. In the presence of nothing, my ego dissolves automatically. Because my ego itself comes into picture only because of the other. If the other is not there, my ego is not there. You can check it out. Look within yourself and you will identify this. This is the truth. This doesn't require any outsider to come and vouch for it. Your own experience will show you. Wherever the other is not there, my ego is not there. When I go in the presence of these Mahatmas, that's why we call them Mahatma, great men. What is a great man? They have done something so courageous. What is it, sir? They have liquidated their ego. Since they have liquidated their ego, when I go into their presence, I understand my ego gets liquidated, my ego also gets dissolved, my ego disappears. Suddenly I sense, I experience a relief. The sense of relief we get. The sense of pleasure, happiness. That gives us an opportunity to realize, for me to live my life, there is no necessity for me to carry the burdensome ego. How burdensome it is for me to carry the ego, I am able to understand. Only when I drop it. Otherwise, what is happening is all the time in interacting with people around me in the world, that interaction is burdensome. But we never understand the burdensomeness of that, from where it is coming. What? Now you go to their presence. In their presence, the ego dissolves, disappears. That disappearance gives us an opportunity to experience life minus ego. There gives us a chance to realize how heavy it is, how unnecessarily that we have been carrying the weight of ego. This Mullah Nazruddin, who boards a train, and he has come with, a huge trunk box, and he is not able to find a seat. It's full. So what he was doing, he was keeping the trunk box on his head and standing and trying to balance. The train is shaking and he's trying to balance. And the co-passenger said, "Hey, why are you carrying it up? Put it down now." And Mullah says, "Hey, as it is, the train is carrying my weight. I don't want to burden the train more by putting down my trunk also. Therefore, let me carry the trunk box. I am doing service to the train. You fellows are all selfish. I am unselfish," says Mullah. This is exactly what our condition is. You get an opportunity to put down that weight of ego only in the presence of the master. Which master is that? The one who has realized. And that's not an easy task. We can give up everything. I can give my material, I can give my effort, I can give my time, I can give my family, relationships, I can give emotions, I can give knowledge, all that I can give. But ask the fellow to give up his ego. That's not possible. That's why the Gita calls them as, the Upanishads call Gita, all the scriptures keeps on calling them as Dhira. See, they are the most courageous people, strong fellows, Dhiran. Why? because they had the courage to drop their ego. The service rendered by the masters to us is not the teaching. Teaching is secondary. That is also there, of course. They tell us what is life. Without their teaching, we wouldn't have had a clue of what life is all about. It's those Mahatmas who are there, fortunately. The one who is striving and achieves to drop, liquidate their ego, in their presence, my ego gets melted automatically. That is why those places were called ashram. Where these masters live, those places were called ashram. Ashram is what, sir? Shrama. There. Derived from this word, shrama. Shrama means painful. But no one goes to the ashram and comes out saying, such a pain, sir, that is. Everyone comes there and says, what? Oh, it's heaven on earth. So pleasant, so beautiful, excellent it is, so nice, so this, so that. From where that all that nice experiences you are getting is because of the presence of the master. In his presence, the troublesome, almost an impossible task of my effort to drop my ego happens effortlessly. That's why it is called ashram. That shrama is not felt at all. You don't feel that pain. It's such a pleasure to be around those masters. That is the service they render, which is the real service. Other services cannot be compared. All other services were different in terms of degree. It's only a degree difference. Material service, physical service, emotional service, intellectual service, all this is, the gradation is in degree. When it comes to the service rendered by these masters, it's a different kind of service. It's totally different. There's no connection. And that is why we don't even understand. All of us can understand the degree differences. Yeah, this we can understand. Material we can understand. Physical we can understand. Emotional we can understand. Intellectual we can understand. All this we are able to recognize, appreciate. But we can't appreciate the spiritual one. Why? Because we have never attempted to drop the ego. Only when you strive, only when you try to drop that ego, you understand how difficult it is. Now, here is a person who has liquidated it, dissolved it completely. Isn't it? Those who have attempted to study in IIT only understands those who have studied in IIT. Isn't it? Otherwise, you tell people IIT and ITA. You ask people, no, what difference? ITA and IIT. What difference you ask? They say, no, same da. Only difference is what? Just a slight interchange. What's it? This is ITI, this is IIT. That's all the differences. They won't even understand. They think, what's a big deal? You see, those who have attempted only know the difference. Like, I genuinely thought, first, driving car is very easy. Riding a motorbike is more difficult. Why? You got to ride that bike with what? 2 wheels. Here, 4 wheels are there. And you are given a seat also with the backrest. Comfortable chair. You can sit. And then all that you have to do is what? All of you who have tried driving, first day driving school, what was the state? The driving instructor comes, he tells you there are 3 things there. Okay? There is an accelerator, there is a brake, There's a clutch. You got it? A, B, C. Repeat. What is ABC? Yes. ABC of driving. What is this? Accelerator, brake, clutch. Not in this order, in the reverse order. Okay. Accelerator, brake, clutch. That's it? Correct. For a vehicle to move, what are you supposed to do? Give acceleration. Correct. Give acceleration. And then what you have to do? Release the clutch. So all that you are expected to do is push the clutch, put the first gear, don't take out your hand, hold the steering wheel. Then all that you have to do is what? Your position will be something like this. All that you have to do is slowly release the clutch and press the accelerator. That's all that is. This is what the driving instructor will tell you. All that you have to do is just this. That's it. Okay? Got it? Start. You start. And then you look at the gear. He says, don't look there. But it's okay. Today you can see. First time. So he looks there. And he says, first gear. First gear. Where are you now? First gear. Correct. Now, what do you have to do? Release the clutch. Slowly release the clutch. As you are releasing the clutch, give the accelerator. Welcome. Boom. Engine off. You are a managing director. There are about 700 people who are reporting to you directly. This illiterate driver will tell you what? The driving school instructor will tell you what? Buddhi illa? You have buddhi. Says, all that I'm telling you is what? Release slowly. What is a hurry? That is why I didn't go to driving school. I learned on my own. Because I don't want the double confirmation. I know that. He doesn't have to come and tell me. For what to go there? You learn on your own. But all that you have to do is what? This much. Until you go and sit on the driver's seat. We think car driving is what? I don't know about you people, at least I thought. I thought driving is so easy. There's no problem at all. Only cycle is the problem. Two-wheeler also no problem. Why? Acceleration you give, goes. Cycle you have to pedal it. So difficult it is. So difficult it is. Remember, always till you attempt, the things will look so easy. Since we have never attempted to drop that ego, that effort looks, that's all, no, big deal, I can do it, you think. When you see a master who have achieved it, you get a tremendous courage. Like, there was a time once they felt that logically it is not possible for a human to cross 100 meters in 10 seconds. 100 meters in 10 seconds, not possible. One man achieved it. Right. I don't remember his name. He achieved it. The moment he achieved, in a matter of 6 months, hundreds of people achieved it. You know? Fascinating to see. Even in the movies, they say, sir, one movie making 100 crores. Impossible. One movie achieved it. In a matter of 2 years, 7-8 movies achieved it. 100 crores. They crossed. Now it is normal. You know, crossing 100 crores normal. Now they say what? 400 crores you got to achieve. 500 crores you got to achieve. You know, collections should come to that much. Only then it is a good movie. Otherwise, it's a flop. Now, this is possible. Same way, one man climbed the Everest. Then what happened now? Now it's like a tourist spot. Everyone can go. You know, one man to do it. When we see someone who is achieving that which we consider as impossible, gives us a motivation. Yes, it is very much practical. Of all the things, what is impossible for a human intellect to conceive is that state of realization. It is beyond intellect. Now, how can you believe in the practicality of such a goal unless you see someone who had achieved it, unless you see someone who's living it? Isn't it little bit should be there? Even if you have a little bit, says carpenter, it will spoil it all, says. You got to drop it. What end block you got to drop it? You got to drop that ego. Even a trace of it were to be there, it will spoil it all, he says. Now, is it possible for a person to drop the whole thing, sir? Now, the service rendered by that master, the person who realizes he serves the world by what? Not by doing anything, by his presence. All other services needs to be acted upon. You got to work on that. Only then it becomes a service. I have to give, only then it is a service. I have to work, only then it is a service. I have to express, only then it is a service. I have to speak, only then it is a service, intellectually. I have to write, only then it is service. Some action has to be done. But in this case, no action is needed. His presence is sufficient. And his presence gives us that possibility, the practicality, and the actual experience of dropping the ego. That motivates a person to start seeking the self. What a service there is. Now, who is going to do that? Is the service rendered by others. Yes. Can realization be shared by others? Answer is yes and no. You cannot share that, but you can infer it. You can get the taste of it vicariously. What is the vicarious taste of it? Your ego gets dissolved in that presence. See, the presence of some people, your ego gets dissolved. You don't need to have your ego. But unfortunately, that is the place where we have maximum expression of ego. The ego gets a backdoor entry. Even there, we bring that ego. That is the solidarity of our ego. His presence gives the chance. Yes. Now, this is the service rendered by him. This is the spiritual service. When we say spiritual service, this is what it means. There is a next question we have. It says, if the true nature of the human being is the self, consciousness, why did that not dominate us? Correct. Why did we not be just that? Why are we the way we are? I don't know, the way we, maybe she's including me also. Anyway, that's okay. Yeah. If the true nature of the human being is the self, the question is, why did the self not dominate us? That is the difference between truth, reality, unreality, lie. truth is always subtle, not pushing. A truth in science is just a statement of fact. That's all. See, it's just a statement of fact. Full stop. What is the truth of gravitation? The law of gravitation is what? Every object is attracted towards Earth 32 feet per second per second. It will not come in and say what you should do and what you should not do. It will not say anything. The truth is only what? It keeps functioning. What is the truth? Every object is falling. That's all it is. It is up to that human intelligence to use it in such a way that same gravitational force is that which helps the aeroplane to take off and fly. We wonder how is it? It's pulling and it is going up. What is the connection? But gravitation will not do anything. Gravitation is just going to do quiet. It is silent. Silently it will function. Not pushing. Because that's refinement. That consciousness, the self, the true nature of human is refinement. Refined people will not push in. Even if someone cuts across, they'll say, go first. After you. Say, you go. Then we come. There is unrefined one. We will jump in. If we see in the aircraft. Before that flight can even come to stop, it's as though it is a rule. If you have multi, nationals are there, all the fellows who stand up first will be Indians. They'll stand. We wonder for what we are standing. Okay, just because you get up and stand, are they going to open the door? The door opening will take 15 minutes. Wait. And then anyway you are in the middle. People in the front row has to go. Only then you can go. What is the hurry? But still what? You have to push. Something you have to do to run. And the fellow goes and sits there in the bus. And waiting till the bus gets filled up, you will not take the bus. And you come last and enter. And then the bus leaves. And then to go to immigration, who is the first fellow to come out? The fellow who came last is the one who comes first. That's what John Milton says. They also serve who stand and wait. They also serve who stand and wait. Honest blindness. So they don't. That's the refinement of the truth. The truth and refinement always go together. Same way, the lie, the false, and pushing also go together. It's a law. That is why the self doesn't push itself. Since it is not pushing, we tend to miss it. We miss it. Have you seen the sunrise never makes any noise? Have you seen that? Have you seen sunrise? Those who have seen will know. Sunrise. No noise. Quietly he comes out. He doesn't make any announcements. No, nothing. Before you realize, it's out. You stand during dawn The dusk and dawn you sit, see the beauty, how he settles in, how he comes out. It's so interesting. It's a circle. So that's what we identify here. Now, why did he not be just that? Why did we not be just that? I don't know why. Why you are not that, I have no idea. I know why I am not. I don't know why you are not just that. Why are we the way we are? Why are you the way you are? It is because of your ignorance, that you don't know that your true nature. Since you don't know your true nature, obviously you will miss it. It is as simple as that. The true nature of a human being is the self. Consciousness. Consciousness doesn't make any noise. It's quiet, it is. It will not show anything. It will be quiet and silent. Actually, it is to be realized only in silence. You can recognize the self in silence only. That's why they poetically they say, look between two thoughts. Look between two thoughts. There is the consciousness between thoughts. Thought is what? A sound that you make internally. Internal verbalization is the thought. When you get a thought, you are making sound. You stop sounding all sounds. There, in that silence, you would experience the consciousness. You will get a taste of what the consciousness is. But you don't try all that. Now the silence that you are, you do quietly. I'm sitting, I'm practicing maunam. All this, that is not quietude I'm talking about. See? Chimananda used to give a beautiful way of saying it. This is the silence. You'll say, last thought has thoughted. No new thought thoughting. Between the two, you get it. No thoughted and thoughting. What are you doing, sir? Constantly thoughting only. Thinking only. Constant thoughts. Entertainment of thoughts. Sound, noise. The constant noise of the mind should be silenced. Then you can hear the whispers of your consciousness. In fact, you will see the whispers of conscience. Silence the whisper of the conscience also. Then you get it. That's what Ramana says. He says, the starting point of all thought, no matter what thought you have, he says, doesn't matter. The starting point of all thought and the end point of all thought is that. So till you go there, you will never recognize it. And it will not make noise. Remember, because it is not making that noise only, this is happening. Like, because the screen is white, not moving, you are able to see the movie. Isn't it? The films were able to run and you are able to enjoy the show. Why? Because the screen is stationary. If the screen also keeps moving 32 frames per second, what will happen? What you will see there? Because the screen is not wet, the screen has no fire. You are able to see the huge fire accident in the movie and a flood, a tsunami, you are able to see. Huge wave comes. You are able to see all that. Why? Because the screen is wet. No, screen is dry. Screen has got nothing to do with all these things. It's independent of all those factors. Now, how do you expect the screen to push itself into a movie? Imagine a screen pushes itself into a movie. What will happen? Then it will become like your last action hero movie. You know, the boy who goes to watch a movie gets pulled inside the movie. You know, it's a fantasy. That's about it. And it will not happen. It will collapse the whole thing. Because the consciousness is not dominating, is silent. We are able to see the spectacle of the play of universe. Remember, be grateful. It is better that the consciousness is not pushing himself. If Brahman, God, were to be pushing himself, we would not have a chance to even, withstand. That's what we say. If nature were to push itself, what will happen to all our technology? With all the technology, we can predict there is going to be a tsunami. Can you stop it? We had the rain, 2 weeks back. We had predicted about 1.5 weeks before itself. There is going to be a storm, rain, gale is coming up, is building, correct. Why don't you stop it? Why don't we stop? That is not possible. If nature is silent, better. When it is silent, most of us will do what? Abuse it. Anything silent gets abused. Look at your own life, no? Huh? Which customer gets maximum attention? The customer who silently pays or the customer who is making so much of noise? Shows the culture of the organization. Who gets the attention most? The supplier who supplies quietly, all that. The principal who pays, does he get the attention more, or you discuss more about the lack of payments? Those people who don't pay on time, who gets maximum attention in your life? That's what we say. Humanity has become perverted. You are supposed to be giving attention. A child who is quiet, he gets attention, or the child who is crying more gets attention? Who gets fed first? So, if I have to get anything, what am I supposed to do? Make noise. So, you make noise, you get things. I see that. I want it. So, what I'm going to do now? I make more noise than you. Then, what is the neighbor is going to do now? The fellow who is watching both of us doing it, he says what? I will make much more noise than you both put together. Then whoever makes maximum noise gets things done. We land where? Life, learn to prioritize. It's not just consciousness based. It works the same way in all aspects. The most refined, the one who is quiet, is he getting attention in your organization, in your family, or the person who is making maximum noise? Constantly complaining. This is not correct, that is not correct, this is not happening, that's not happening, this is not. Immediately we come out and say what? Only the manager comes out immediately. The moment a customer makes noise, the manager comes out. For the quiet customers, no manager will come. So every time you have to get what you have to do, make noise. We have started living our life like that. Refinement. is the subtle power, we say. It's a soft power. The soft power of nature is quiet. Water is soft. A rock is solid. But the water simply devours the rock. It cannot be sharp. It flows and flows and flows and flows and flows and makes that sharp edges of the rocks round and smooth. The power is where? In the sharpness and the solidarity of the rock, or the softness and the consistent flowing of the water. Who is strong? Much more stronger than him is air. The strongest of all that is who? Space. And you don't see him at all anywhere. You don't see space anywhere. Where is it, sir? Since he is not raising anything, he is accommodating everything. Similarly, this consciousness, the subtlety means it will not express. That's the meaning of subtlety. If consciousness were to come out and push itself, it is not subtle, it becomes gross. It will be defeating the very nature of it. The very nature is that. That's a fantastic question. Correct. Why is it not pushing itself? God will not push himself. Nature will not push himself. Refined people will not push himself. Now, who are you going to value shows, are you gross or you refined? If you pay attention to noise more, that's what your nature is. If you pay attention to the whispers, you are more refined. If you can pay attention to the silence, you are realized. That is where consciousness is. You are asking the consciousness to us to make noise. Impossible. It cannot do it. Therein lies the power of consciousness. Don't take, because it is not making noise, don't take it as weak. It's the power of consciousness. Everything functions. Remember that. See you next class.